Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to a very special video here on the channel. I think should be one of the cooler news episodes because I want the comment section to decide who you think deserves that last spot over in LA. Now what I mean by this, you guys can tell by the title, the battle for LA now begins as we vie for the second spot of two supposed spots going to LA for the CWL or the Call of Duty World League as it should be renamed for 2020. But who's actually competing for this is three of the top organizations, not only in Call of Duty, but in the entire world of esports, and alongside them a fourth organization known as Kroenke, who is widely backed not only in esports but also traditional sports. So we're going to break it down for all of you guys, the analysis of actually all the teams competing for that last LA spot and who deserves it the most. You guys can decide in the comment section down below. And of course we do widely know, especially if you guys are Optic Gaming fans, they were bought out by the Immortals Gaming Club and they were given that first LA spot. So it should be Optic Gaming for the CWL competing out of LA next year. Who that team will be, that's a giant question. But that second spot, who will it belong to, who will fight for it, we're going to break it down for all of you guys. GenG, 100T, FaZe Clan, and Kroenke Sports are all competing, and who deserves it the most, you guys can decide. So let's break it down. And first up has to be 100 Thieves, guys, an organization that throughout 2019 and late 2018 has done some tremendous things, along with that being run by Nadeshot himself, who is notorious for his Call of Duty background. So who better to gift a CWL spot to, who has the money, and alongside that, a giant background, of course, alongside as well, a great Call of Duty roster. They've already taken 2 titles this year, and along with that have one of the biggest evaluations of esports orgs throughout 2019 alone, now around $130 million for the entire org itself, which is pretty tremendous. Alongside that, when you look at the city of LA, they have now also based their brand new HQ there, 15,000 square feet. Now the only downside I would say, you look at this esports org, a huge evaluation, giant investors, you have Nadeshot with a Call of Duty background and a great Call of Duty roster, a world contending Call of Duty roster who has already taken 2 titles this year alone. The only downside, they have one franchise spot, that being their LCS spot for their League of Legends roster. As compared to other teams on this list, their actual franchise backing is not that strong, but when it comes to Call of Duty history, you really cannot beat 100 Thieves. But if you were to beat 100 Thieves for Call of Duty history, it would probably be that of FaZe Clan. Now, I would say, though, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't want to try and impair all of your votes in the comment section down below as to what organization you think deserves that spot, but on my personal list, I think at the very bottom of actually having the chance to land this LA spot would be that of FaZe Clan. Now, don't get me wrong, these guys have a wide variety of backing. They do many things great, and they are notoriously known for their background with Call of Duty trick shots, and of course, generally coming from the Call of Duty scene, and I applaud them for that. Another world-class roster currently playing for their Call of Duty team. But when you look at the actual financial backing, they are doing amazing. According to FaZe Banks and other sources, they are worth a couple $100 million worth of funding, although, you know, those numbers can be flabbergasted. We don't really exactly know the exact evaluation of FaZe Clan. Back in 2018, they weren't even on the top 10 for most valuable esports organizations, although this year in 2019, that likely will change with them. They are a giant brand. They come from Call of Duty. They are very well backed financially. When it comes to their biggest fall off, they have 0 franchise spots. You look at their biggest teams out there, Call of Duty, CSGO, other FPS titles, they do relatively well in, and alongside that, you guys know, of course, Cloaksy and Tfue, that whole Fortnite situation. Besides that, they still have some of the strongest Fortnite players in the entire world, but when it comes to actual franchise backings, if that is the evaluation point for who gets that second LA spot, FaZe Clan has to be at the bottom of your list because they have 0 franchise league spots, and along with that, we've actually heard Banks himself say the stupidity of a franchise league, but when you come from a Call of Duty scene, you're almost expected to have a Call of Duty spot, so I do expect, especially with the rumors of Offset joining the organization, and especially when he tweets out things like Call of Duty, they very much want the CWL spot and very much could be forced into it. But either way, in terms of if they can actually get the spot, it's a giant mystery going forward. And those are your 2 first organizations, 100T and FaZe Clan, definitely 2 of your most notoriously known Call of Duty organizations who are competing for one of the Call of Duty World League spots. And speaking of Titans on this list, guys, it has to be our third option, that being GenG. Now, all the teams so far I've mentioned are known for something in their history. GenG, known for their League of Legends roster, and right away that ticks off one marker there for 1 franchise spot. They also have ownership in the Seoul Dynasty for the OWL, and you tick mark those 2 check boxes, guys. They have 2 franchise spots. Along with that, a very much up and coming Call of Duty roster, have been very threatening for quite some time now, and especially this past weekend, placing second at CWL champs to E United. Shouts to Clayster really quick though for the 1400-day streak being broken, but GenG financially well back, 2 franchise spots, along along with that, a great Call of Duty current roster, have to be a top contender for this LA spot, considering on top of all of that, they have now opened, yes, you guessed it, an LA facility. You know, FaZe have their house, I do believe so. 100 Thieves has their LA facility. On top of that, breaking 15,000 square feet. GenG just announced theirs, though, at 13,000 square feet. Might quite not the size of 100 Thieves, but what they actually do accommodate you with, it's pretty insane. 3 different scrim areas, a full-size cafeteria, an Olympic-sized swimming pool, basketball courts, alongside that streaming rooms, and each actual esports pods or player pods, whatever you want to call them, for resting during the day and then getting right back to work. GenG, after all of that, has to be one of your top contenders for the last spot in LA. And very lastly, but certainly not least, of the organizations or companies on this list vying for that last spot, it's going to be Kroenke Sports. Actually, most recently in the news because they have acquired supposedly a $30 million LCS spot, that being from Echo Fox. I've talked about that crazy story here on the channel, how sad that story is, but Kroenke jumped on the opportunity to actually have their second franchise spot. Yes, these guys actually do come as well from the Overwatch League. They have the LA Gladiators, and yet again, you check off those 2 marker boxes, or box, I don't really know how to say that phrase whatsoever. 2 franchise spots for our last 2 orgs, that being GenG as well as Kroenke Sports, but they also come from a huge backing, a variety backing from traditional sports. So when it looks at the evaluation of whether or not, you know, the CWL wants teams or organizations who are financially backed, whether or not they want teams who have franchise spots, or whether or not they want more eyes from a wider variety of audiences to come watch their sport, we don't know the criteria for landing this last CWL spot for LA, but if it's going to be a wider audience of eyes, it could be Kroenke Sports getting that because they come from the Avalanche, the Denver Nuggets, the Arsenal Football Club, and much more under their hood and under their umbrella. They have 2 franchise spots, much like GenG, and they are probably vying for that last LA spot. Now, if you guys can do me a favor after all of those breakdowns, just do me one favor. If you guys are still watching, leave a comment down below. It can be 1 word, it can be 4 letters, it can be however many letters are in the organization's name. FaZe, GenG, 100T. Kroenke's a little bit harder to spell for all of you, but leave 1 comment down below. Which organization or company do you think deserves that very last spot? And if you want to leave more, tell me why. As always, my name is Jake. I hope you guys all enjoy the breakdown of the battle for LA. This has honestly been one of the more fun videos I've done, at least this week, if not this month. I hope you guys all enjoy. I'll be back here sometime soon, breaking down more esports news. And until next time, guys, I'll see you soon.